Welcome to a corner of Kent that has it all. Great gardens, architecture and landscapes fit for poets and painters. Not to mention a sense of history that's hard to surpass. This is Hever Castle, former dwelling place of Anne Boleyn, and this weekend it's residents in waiting to an exciting young triathlon. The Markel Castle Triathlon is one of the 3 biggest in the country, and this stunning location has surely played a major part in its immediate success. This weekend is designed to inspire all, from the world-class elites to the next generation of swim, bike, run enthusiasts. Youngsters from the age of 7 will be taking part in this, the world's biggest children's triathlon, and they'll be teaching mum and dad how it's done. In some cases, entire families will be out on the course. Dinner table bragging rights are definitely at stake. With sprints, relays, Olympic and long distance on offer, there really is something for all ages and abilities this weekend, and that's why thousands of triathletes have once again come to Kent. But it's not just the age groupers who are here in force. Hever is the last round in this year's Castle Triathlon Series, and that means there are 2 sets of elites ready to storm the ramparts in the quest for the titles. With such an obvious historical backdrop to the event, it's perhaps rather appropriate that this weekend sees the renewal of an ancient rivalry dating back hundreds of years. England against France caused much confrontation in Anne Boleyn's era, but so far triathlon is yet to absorb the sport of fencing, so the 2 sets of elites should still be able to shake hands come the end of the race. The climax this weekend sees the organisers laying down the Gauntlet. That's the name of an endurance challenge that will see hundreds of competitors, including world-class performers like Lucy Gossage, Fraser Cartmel and David McNamee, proving their stamina in the River Eden before heading out onto this glorious, gruelling course. Well, our commentator Patrick Winterton will be keeping an eye on the action throughout the weekend, so let's join him now and find out what's coming up.
We're situated just to the southeast of London, an hour or so from the city centre at Hever Castle, a perfect venue for triathlon and a venue that hosts many events over the weekend, the Gauntlet being the toughest of all. And for once, the geese are going to be outnumbered by the swimmers. Wave after wave of triathletes starting the swim, and they've all entered the water from the loggia, which was brought to Hever Castle from Italy in the early 20th century. And of course, all this the work of William Waldorf Astor and the 800 men who dug out the 38-acre lake, and it took them a full 2 years to complete the project. Well, hopefully none of these athletes will take 2 years to complete. The Gauntlet swimmers will be finishing off in one of the tributaries to the River Eden. That's certainly an unusual venue for a triathlon, but very, very enjoyable, I'm sure. All ages involved today, and so many different events on offer. And of course, switching from the swim to the bike, the Gauntlet, a full 90-kilometre bike ride today. The Olympic and middle distances take on a 40-kilometre course, and then the sprint over 20 Ks. The Gauntlet taking in the high weald of Kent and the Ashdown Forest. Stunning scenery all the way round. Well, once the bike ride is completed, they still have the small matter of a run, 21 kilometres for the Gauntlet athletes. And they'll get to see some stunning sights all the way round. Chiddingstone Castle and its grounds. And then they head back towards Hever Castle, of course, owned by Lord Guthrie for the last 30 years. 5,000 competitors in all entered into the events over the weekend. It is a phenomenal success story.
Well, there are so many races over so many distances. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm delighted to once again be joined by Rachel Latham. Rachel, what an unbelievable atmosphere here. It's fantastic.
I know, it's kind of got that sporting but festival atmosphere. We've got so many children, families and schools all coming together, and it's just that heartwarming feeling.
It's great that the organisers have been brave enough to lay on an open water swim for young children.
I know, there's 1,200 kids competing here. It's completely sold out. I think the biggest thing is, after London 2012, a lot of the children saw the triathlon, which they'd never seen before, and just thought, you know what, I can do that, I can get in. And that's the type of legacy that we want, you know, to get involved in something you've never done before and try it out. And, you know, they're just here to have a bit of fun. And, you know, if they turn into Olympians one day, then even better.
Absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much, Rachel. Let's get out on the course and find out how the next generation are getting on here at Hever Castle.
Brian Adcock, the race director, just briefing the youngsters before they start their race. And there are hundreds and hundreds of them. Well, it's great to see that so many siblings are racing. There's Laurie Mailer, whose whole family are involved with the racing this weekend.
Why did you decide to bring everybody down to compete today?
Okay, well, a few years ago, my wife started, and so I joined in a bit behind the curve, and I've been playing catch-up ever since. But at the beginning of the year, we said to the guys, you know, would you like to do some triathlons this year? And they all said yes, which was, we sort of went, oh, okay, so let's go and do it. So that's what brought us here today.
Your youngest is only 7 years old. Are you ever nervous watching her compete?
Yes, and it's really good that you're allowed parents in the transition area when you're with them. So yes, I count the minutes till they come back in and go out again.
Well, the Mailers have been involved in a number of the events in the Castle Series, 3 in all this year. We have Castle Howard, Château Chantilly in France, we've got Loch Coutre in Galway and Cholmondeley Castle in Cheshire. Laurie Mailer, a successful swim and on his way on the bike ride in the junior event. The bike course for the juniors entirely within the castle grounds. Laurie, of course, racing for a good position in his group, but primarily to beat his sisters today. Another wave and another family. This family have completed in the whole series this year. The Strongs. Father James with Bradley and Mitchell, his 2 sons. Bradley at the moment the stronger of the 2, but Mitchell promising something special. Maybe it will be Dad's day.
It's a very competitive series, but it's also very fun, very, very easy. There's a lot of first-timers here, which is great, and there's a lot of experienced people here, so it's a mixture of what we want.
2 competitive sons will be going hammer and tongs, no doubt. And all these guys racing over the sprint distance, which will take them about an hour.
We've always had this brotherly competition, and yeah, I'm getting there. I'm slowly going up. It started with a big gap. It's now a very small gap. He's a much better cyclist than me, but we're quite similar on the run, I'd like to think. But no, he'd probably beat me, but I'll give it my best as usual.
Well, we'll track them as they go round the course. There are lots of kids involved today as well, and lots of schools taking part. Alison Saunders is the headmistress of St Lawrence Primary. Her aim is just to complete her first ever triathlon. The kids from her school are taking part in the inter-schools tournament.
There's a team of children and a team of parents, and there's me. And I think I decided to do it partly because it's a huge personal challenge. I've never really competed in anything like this before at any level, so it's totally new. It's also totally new to the children in my school, so I sort of felt as though if I'm asking them to do something that's really rather out of their comfort zone, then maybe I should actually be having a go myself.
Well, you have to applaud her for that, and it's going to be some experience swimming in the open water with so many other swimmers. Bradley, the older of the two Strong brothers, is first out of the water, and he's opened up a gap of a couple of minutes, it looks, on his brother Mitchell. So Mitchell has work to do, but Bradley's certainly the stronger when it comes to the bike ride. So it's all going well for the older brother at the moment. And he's had a very quick transition and opened up a couple of valuable seconds on his brother and his father.
This is the most difficult part. This.
There's got to be a technique. Every 15 to 20 minutes, another wave starting. Plenty of volunteers and lots of safety boats out on the lake to make sure that everyone's all right. Here comes Alison Saunders, cheered on by her school kids. And some of the old school kids, I suspect. The two youngest malers preparing for their race, and extra experienced water safety crew on hand for the kids, so the kids can enjoy the event and the parents need not fret. They have a job to do because each kid is allowed one parent in the transition area who's allowed to help remove the wetsuit, as you can see, and take the bike off the rack. Otherwise, all they can give is encouragement. Elise Mailer ahead of her younger sisters.
How are you doing, Elise?
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Well, the kids certainly enjoying their day out. But as they say, there's a kid in all of us. Here comes the headmistress.
How are you doing?
Going well. Bit of a hill back there.
What goes up must go down. Plenty of downhill sections to enjoy. And the Mailers, particularly Maria, pushing hard. She's got a cadence that Bradley Wiggins would be proud of. Great effort from the youngster, just 7 years old. Many of these kids involved in the inter-schools tournament, and all those dressed in bright green belonging to Highfield School, where they have their own triathlon club.
Well, some of them started when we started the club last term, so have done a lot of lake swimming and practice in the pool, and some have actually done a few races, and we've got some here who are doing it for the very first time, so they're very new to it and it's a new experience, so a lot of different abilities.
Barnaby Gray, who's planning to be involved in a number of events next year with the school, and of course he's racing the Gauntlet event tomorrow. Mitchell Strong chasing his brother Bradley, who's having a very good ride so far and opening up a decent gap.
Where's your brother?
I don't know. Hopefully a long way back.
All he's got to do is stay on course.
Well, the whole atmosphere here this weekend is helping to turn this into a fitting finale to a season that has seen similar events in similarly stunning locations all across Britain, Ireland and France. And the man responsible is Brian Adcock. Brian, first of all, you must be delighted with the energy and the whole atmosphere here.
Yeah, I mean, we put a fair amount of effort into trying to create an environment where people feel comfortable and relaxed and come and enjoy a race. So they're here to have fun after all.
What was the initial ethos and where did the initial idea come from to create a Castle series?
I had the opportunity, because I live down the road, to come and organise a triathlon here for the first time 5 years ago. And we'd sold out the 1,000 places that we limited ourselves to in that first year within about 4 weeks. So we just thought, you know, we're on to something here. And I'm pretty sure that when Lord Astor sorted the grounds out in this place, he had triathlon in mind, because it is a stunning place to come and do an event.
Let's just talk a little bit about Castle Howard, one of the other stunning locations. It's really well known because it's been part of various TV historical dramas. It really is an eye-catching venue for a triathlon.
Yeah, it's stunning, and all of the things that you'll have seen on the TV programmes, like the Temple of the Four Winds, the Mausoleum, are all incorporated within the run route. Howardian Hills present an incredible challenge for the cyclists, so yeah, we expect that one to become the biggest triathlon in the north.
Great stuff, Brian. I know you're a busy man. Thanks very much for your time. And let's get back out on the course and join our commentator, Patrick Winterton.
The first day of action here at Hever Castle. The shorter events, the sprint, the junior events. The big ones may be on the Sunday, but there have been some fine performances so far. Alison Saunders, almost at the end of her first triathlon. Bradley Strong, a really good performance, and he's outstripped his brother once again.
That looked pretty solid.
It wasn't bad. I think, yeah, bike was a bit difficult today. There was a lot more people in the swim, but it wasn't bad. I beat my family, so that's the main thing.
Mitchell Strong still pushing hard and straight into the arms of big brother.
Can you see yourself beating this guy one day?
Easily next year, 100%.
Oh, that's fighting talk.
My improvement's gone by about 7 minutes in a year, so another year and I'll be starting in his position.
You're a marks man.
I'm not worried, it's all right.
And Father James, he's made it.
Guys are saying that the standard is noticeably increasing and improving every year with this event.
It has, the whole Castle Series is. When Brad and I first did this 4 years ago, there was about a dozen people in the swim. Now, in our wave alone, there must have been 200, so it's a very good event, very friendly. The whole Castle Series is tremendous.
And Alison Saunders finishes her day's work. 10 out of 10. Couldn't have done much better. Her school kids will be as proud as she is.
The run was really difficult, and there's a cheeky little hill just before the finish. You can't see it, it's just around the corner, and that was really tough, and I might have walked just a tiny bit of that, but but no, it was really good fun.
Laurie Mailer on his way to the finish line. He's had a pretty solid run, 4 kilometres the distance for the final event for his age group. And that's after an 8-kilometre bike ride and a 300-metre swim. And he's going to be just over an hour and 2 minutes. 1 hour, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. And that puts him 25th out of 200 in his wave.
The cycle was very bumpy and off-road, so I don't think I did very well in that, but the run was strong, so I'm fine.
Laurie's sister Elise just finishing her run, number 557. And 2 kilometres of running completed.
How did it go?
It went all right, yeah. The swim was way better than I thought it would be.
And Mum, how proud are you to watch her race the whole swim?
She's fantastic. Well done.
Well, Mum's got to do her work tomorrow. She's entered for the Gauntlet event, a half-iron distance, while husband Harvey is entered into the Olympic distance. Enya Mailer, a good, strong sprint finish from her. Fantastic effort. And Maria, the youngest of the 4. There'll be plenty more triathlons for her. Well, if you ever had any doubt as to the legacy of the Olympics, Hever Castle would convince you that it was a good thing, because there's no doubt that most of these kids are here because of what they saw at London 2012.
Who do you two think you could be the next?
Brownlee brothers.
Is that something you two want to do?
We'd like to. I don't think we could do it quite yet.
Their time might come.
So hundreds of children have managed to tame the castle course, which means it's almost time for the mums and dads to take their turn with the longer races. Also warming up in the wings, we've got Fraser Cartmel and David McNamee ready to go in the Gauntlet, and we've got the two-nation head-to-head between Great Britain and France. All that to come after the break. Welcome back to Kent for the Markel Castle Triathlon. We've already had 1 day of action with sprint distance, relays and even the children showing what they can do. But now it's time to turn our attention to the Gauntlet and the elites. Let's join our race commentator Patrick Winterton and find out who intends to take centre stage.
Well, the Scottish will certainly have high hopes of success in the Gauntlet race. The distances you can see for yourselves. It's the half-iron distance, just under 2 kilometres in the water before they have a 90-kilometre bike ride and finish it off with a half-marathon run. That's exactly 21 kilometres. Hever Lake, once again, the venue for the swim. And this is certainly somewhere where David McNamee might be able to take advantage over the rest of the field. He's a brilliant young triathlete, number 13 in the world rankings at the moment, but stepping up to this half-iron distance, he's more used to the Olympic distance. We'll see how he gets on today.
As an athlete, you always have to look for new avenues, and sort of, I very much think sort of in 2 or 3 years' time that I'd like to step up and sort of see how I go up against the best guys in the world over sort of this distance.
Well, one man who's certainly proven over the longer distance is Fraser Cartmel, also from Scotland. He's won Ironman UK. He's also won Ironman UK 70.3.
To be honest, I fell upon the series by chance really in July and did Castle Howard and absolutely loved the event, the venue, everything about the race was just superb. Did Chantilly in France the month after and then thought, well, absolutely should come and do Hever, which is the marquee event.
Now, one man who's certainly not expecting to win, but will be looking for a good performance is Barnaby Gray, the Director of Sports at Highfield School.
Well, I suppose having 17 children doing yesterday, you know, one had to show that one could try and do it oneself, so I thought I'd go for the long one today and see how we get on.
Are they all going to be here today supporting you?
We got some who camped last night and some who went home for a nice hot bath, I think, but we've got a fair few here today, so we're good.
Well, I'm sure Barnaby Gray will have plenty of supporters while he's out on the roads and on his bike. 1.9 kilometres of swimming to complete before he can think of that. The athletes are set at the start, having entered the water from the loggia. And away they go, and already those in the middle of the field seem to have stolen a march on those on the outside, and there's no doubt that Cartmel and McNamee will be amongst the leaders in the early stages, both very, very good swimmers indeed. Well, I think that's David McNamee, you can see on the near side with the red shoulders on his wetsuit. Good start from him. He's found clean water and starting to string the field out already. Those at the front travelling easily twice as fast as those at the back. Now, when they've completed the loop in the lake, they head into the river section.
After 600 metres, it gets very narrow, so ideally there won't be many people around me by that point. So when it becomes technical, I don't have to worry about it.
Well, there is David McNamee. He's got the lead, but he also has company in Fraser Cartmel, perhaps the one man that he wouldn't want on his toes.
It'll be interesting because these guys swim fast. And I like to think I'm a good swimmer, but as I'm getting older, the swim's not quite as quick as it used to be, so I have to try and keep up the swim. You know, my bike and my experience over this distance, I hope, will be my plus and my strong point.
McNamee pushing the pace in the closing stages of the swim, and he's the first out of the water. An excellent start from him. Fraser Cartmel, he's done well to hang on, but that was always the plan. No surprise to see Carol Bridge leading the women's race after her win at Chantilly.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a good season this year and I've been racing pretty well, so I guess I was hoping to win or hoping to do well. But yeah, it's always nice, always a surprise to win, isn't it? You can never guarantee a win.
Well, it's a great shot from the sky. Those in transition will not be thinking of their surroundings. Good transition from Fraser Cartmel. Andrew Hood's had an excellent swim as well, got himself in a competitive position. And Scotland now 1, 2 and 3 in the men's event. Wales leading the women's with Carol Bridge. And England's Linda Evans coming in to transition as Bridge leaves. Linda Evans, 23-year-old, coached now by Harry Wiltshire. I should think Harry will be happy with her swim today. David McNamee leading the three Scots, And he has pole position at the moment as he settles into the early stages, but not for long. Fraser Cartmel goes through like he's doing the sprint event. It's early stages, but the race is on.
The Castle Triathlon Series isn't just the reserve of British and Irish aristocracy. They're also getting involved over in France at a magnificently named race at Chateau de Chantilly. All of the historic locations come from an era of conflict between such nations, but this event has another chapter in the cross-channel rivalry, one which is adding a touch of joie de vivre to the whole weekend.
Now, the international challenge is between Britain and France. Each team has 4 members taking part in the Olympic distance race. 3 men, 1 woman in each team, and their position they finish in counts as that many points. So if you finish second, you pick up 2 points, and the idea is to finish with the team with the least number of points, just like in cross-country running or indeed in sailing. The French team are full of stars. Cyril Vignot, very accomplished indeed, but perhaps the biggest name is Delphine Pelletier, former Olympian from 2004. The British team made up of David Bishop, Beau Smith, Sam Wade and Vicky Johnston. Now, these 2 teams have raced before and the British came out on top at Chateau Chantilly. Will it be the same again today? Victor Debilco of France with the mic introducing his team. Tony Bahul, Vignot and of course Pelletier we've mentioned. The British team looking a little bit nervous. I think they know there's a lot of hard work to be done. The swim could be absolutely crucial and Beau Smith is certainly one of the best swimmers in the field. Expect to see him leading in the early stages. David Bishop will certainly be hoping to be the first Brit home.
I've been here now 3 years, so I wouldn't manage to win the last 2 years, so I'm really looking forward to racing. It's a beautiful place and there's some good competition, so I'm looking forward to. I've got a loyalty to these races. I love them, and yeah, I just really enjoy doing this race particularly. The normality of racing is you turn up to a race, you go home. Here there's a bit more of a festival, and I just really enjoyed that part of it.
Beau Smith making his mark early on in the swim.
Hopefully I can help us on our way to beating the French. That's what counts, I think, this weekend.
Beau Smith certainly doing his part in the early stages. Vicky Johnston has a really important role for the British team, and her familiarity with the course may pay off.
It's tough. It's not the toughest in the series. I did Castle Howard and that was hard. But no, it's a good testing course. I think we've got a good chance at winning.
Well, the more men that Vicky Johnston can beat, the better. And the more points, or the less points, she'll score for the British team, which is crucial. Catherine Jameson, the leading woman at the moment, who's not part of the international challenge, and Beau Smith, the first man out of the water, as expected. Another flyer from him, followed by David Bishop, who's only given away a few seconds. So Beau Smith trying to capitalise on an excellent swim. 19 minutes, 14 seconds for the 1500 metre swim. That is really good going. And he should be able to hold the lead on the bike for a while after that good work. Great start from the British team, certainly stealing an advantage over the French in the early stages, 32 to 36. And that's with all 4 of the international team members out of the water. Jameson, the leading lady, out of the water and ahead of the French team, who are entering the transition area together, working as a team for success.
We want to have the victory because in Chantilly we lose because Delphine was sick, and now we want to win.
Delphine looking fit and healthy and motivated today.
Yeah, it's my last race for my career, and I choose to do my last race here in England. I think I have made my best, and now I have to work. I have no regrets, so I think I'm really lucky to have had a so long career. And now I want to pass some time with my little child.
So Delphine Pelletier coming to the end of her career, Bo Smith very much at the start of his.
I've only raced 2 non-drafting races this year. I won both of them. I won the British Universities Sprint at the start of the year and Bala in North Wales a couple of weeks back.
Well, he's going to have to go some to win today because there are a lot of talented riders behind him. The French team working together as they did in the water, pushing the limits of non-drafting. David Bishop, who's been overtaken by Viernot and Debelco, and now finds himself in 4th position. And the 2 Frenchmen closing down on Bo Smith, and closing down very fast indeed. Cyril Viernot, the man doing the donkey work at the front, and a man who's finished in the top 20 at Kona before. Now that really does change the scores in the international challenge, with France going into the lead, 21-30. The British with work to do before they head back to Hever and the run.
This part of the castle is where Anne Boleyn, second wife to Henry VIII, used to enjoy walking, and it's not hard to see why. The Tudor, Italian and Rose Gardens are a major part of Hever's tourist attraction. But with the Gauntlet and Olympic distance races still in progress, there's not much time for the triathletes to stop and smell the flowers. For them, it's all about the finish, so join us after the break for the big climax. Welcome back to the Markel Hever Castle Triathlon in Kent. This is the last in a series of races that has graced the grandest estates in Europe. This 2-day sporting festival has already seen hundreds of youngsters competing in the world's biggest children's triathlon. Mums and dads have been getting in on the action as well, competing across a range of triathlon distances. And we've been focusing on those at the sharp end, 2 sets of elites competing in simply stunning surroundings. We're very close to the climax of the action, so let's get straight back out on the course.
Well, it's all change in the long-distance Gauntlet event. Carl Alexander is the new leader. He's taken his opportunity after McNamee and Cartmel have accidentally been directed down the wrong route, and that could prove very costly indeed. They've certainly lost a few minutes in the process. Carol Bridge, the leading lady, after an excellent swim.
Carol, how's it going?
These hills are quite hard, even though I'm from the Rhondda.
What's your plan now?
Oh, keep pushing hard on the bike, and then whatever I got left for the run.
Medical student Linda Evans in 2nd place in the women's event, just 2.5 minutes down on Bridge at this stage.
What's your plan now?
Just ride as hard as I can for as long as I can. Eat as much as I can. Got the last bar.
Cara Mailer, who had the pleasure of watching her 4 kids racing yesterday, now going for the Gauntlet herself.
So far so good, thank you. Lots of hills, very beautiful. No rain, hallelujah.
How do you feel coming out of the swim?
Great. It's a bit of a bun fight, but fine. I like to swim. Right, I'm going to put my head down now. See you later.
The leading men in the Gauntlet race already through T2. Here comes David McNamee. Now he's down, well, he's inside the top 10 by my calculation, but he's 13 minutes off the leader Carl Alexander. And Alexander, long gone, 4 kilometres down the track, is going to be tough to catch. Bridge of Wales leading the way, but being chased hard by Linda Evans of England. Lucy Gossage in Chiddingston, heading towards the castle. Now, she's had a brilliant season, winning Ironman UK and Ironman Wales, today racing in the relay event. The refreshments at Chiddingston Castle, essential for so many of the athletes. David McNamee of Scotland racing hard. He's gaining on the leaders. He's up into the top 5 now. Bridge still leading the women's and looking relatively comfortable, very focused. And Linda Evans, a nice running style. Can she close that gap on Bridge? The Olympic distance race, remember, the race that involves the international challenge, Great Britain and France. France still with an 8-point advantage, and that's due to the good cycling. Beau Smith, David Bishop have got to make a move to get back on terms as they come into T2. Beau Smith, I think, looking to be the first in. He's the man in black, just overtaking Cyril Viennot of France. Just in time for the dismount. Penalty seconds, of course, added if you're too late off the bike. So Smith was first out of T1. Is he going to be first out of T2 again? His points could prove crucial today. David Bishop has hung on in 4th place and will be through T2 shortly. And it's these sort of situations that make the women's role in the international event so important. It could well be between Pelletier and Johnston. David Bishop in and out of T2. 3 men up ahead to catch. And if he can get the 2 Frenchmen, that would be brilliant news for the British team. Beau Smith is going to have to fight so hard to hang on in 1st place.
I feel like I often run better after the bike. I think maybe the more constant pace suits me more, and my legs just wake up a bit quicker on the run.
Beau Smith running well, but he's in a spot of bother here with the 2 Frenchmen coming up strongly behind him. His response is going to be very interesting indeed. Delphine Pelletier of France, Vicky Johnston of Great Britain. The 2 women pretty much neck and neck as they go through T2, and the faster transition coming from Pelletier of France. Well, the international competition is certainly adding a little bit of spice to this race. Positions changing all the time. Beau Smith just losing 1st place to Viennot of France. Now let's see how that affects the scores. France now on 23, Great Britain 29. Remember, it's the lowest score that leads, and the French with that 6-point advantage at the moment. Cara Mela, 3 hours and 9 minutes on the bike. That's not bad, just a small matter of a half marathon to go.
What mental state do you think you're in right now?
Tired but happy. It was a wonderful course. My legs are tired. I feel like jelly, but I'll be fine. 4 lots of 5K, that's how I think about this. So, brilliant.
I'll see you at the finish line.
Well, 2 hours.
2 hours would be a very good run indeed. Carl Alexander still leading the Gauntlet race, and he certainly snatched his opportunity. Good strong running from him. Horton in 2nd place, running in the Loughborough colours, and he's now under pressure from David McNamee, who, remember, was just inside the top 10 in T2. He's worked his way up into 3rd position overall, and he's moving faster than Horton, who's about to be pushed down into 3rd place. A stunning performance from David McNamee. He can never be accused of giving up, but he's still got his mind on winning this race, and it is possible. It is possible, but remember, at T2 he was 13 minutes behind Alexander. What a comeback. McNamee a little bit tight in the shoulders, but still travelling very quickly indeed. Linda Evans on the far side of the river, and on the near side, the women's leader, Carol Bridge of Wales. And she's pretty much led since the start. Evans still some way behind. And Now the situation in the International Challenge is getting interesting. David Bishop is catching Beau Smith. He's about to overtake Beau Smith, and he's ahead of Victor up into second place now. And that should close the scores from 6 points. The margin now only 2 points. And with Johnston gaining a place on Pelletier, it's going to be very, very tight. Viernot, the hot favourite to win the Olympic distance race. And it looks as though he is going to do just that. A man who's finished in the top 20 of the Ironman World Championships before.
How are you feeling, Cara?
I'm tired, but good. I'm going to do it. And it's not muddy, it's wonderful.
Still looks full of running. Her husband racing in the Olympic distance race. Here is Harvey. Good, solid, stomping run. No energy to talk or take in the fantastic scenery.
Good right, Harvey.
His kids are waiting with Rachel.
You raced yesterday and now you've been waiting for your mummy and daddy to come through. How exciting is that?
Really exciting because we followed them every step of the way. We saw her come out the swim and then onto the bike, and yeah, it was good.
Have you been nervous at all watching your mummy and daddy?
No.
You think they're going to have done really well? Do you reckon they can do as well as you?
Well, my dad looked really confident coming out the swim, so I reckon he had a brilliant race. And Mum, she looked a bit tired, but I reckon she'll get through it.
I'm sure she will. She's got a while to go yet. And in the men's race in the Gauntlet, the leader coming in towards the finish area already, Carl Alexander. Well, that has to go down as the performance of his life. A brilliant victory from him. 1:28.33 for the run, a total time of 4 hours 40.31. Alexander the champion. How about this? David McNamee, he finishes in second, 4:40.54, having been 13 minutes behind at T2, and Horton comes in to finish third.
I spoke to John Levison this morning, the Tri24/7 editor. He said I was feeling terrible this morning. It could have gone either two ways. I could have had an absolute flyer or an absolute stinker, and luckily it was the latter, not the former, not the latter. So yeah, it was. It's been a brilliant end to the season.
The runner-up today, David McNamee.
It started off so well, I felt going to swim. Me and Fraser had a good lead. By about 30 k's in the bike, we were 3-4 minutes up, and I thought, this is it, I just need to stick with Fraser and then see if I've got the run legs today. I don't know what happened, but we just ended up going off course. I got off the bike and I just decided, well, I've came all the way down here. It's the last race of the season, I knew I'd be disappointed if I didn't go and at least try and do something, and yeah, I made up a few places, so these things happen. Yeah, it's been a good season, so I'm looking forward to the holiday now and getting back into training. Hopefully next year, I can move up in the world again.
Carol Bridge takes the women's title, deservedly so, having led pretty much from start to finish.
I thought I'd come and there'd be little hills on the bike, but they were I saw 13% on some of the road signs, so yeah, they were pretty hard. The second lap they felt like twice as long, twice as steep. Yeah, I suffered on the run as well.
And Linda Evans coming in to finish second in the women's event, just over a minute behind Bridge.
Were you expecting or hoping at the start of today that you could finish on the podium?
Not at all. I've never done a half-ironman before.
Wow.
I just thought it's the end of the season and I'd try something different and give something a go. So I was just aiming to finish today.
Well, she's done far better than that, just behind Carol Bridge today, who wins the women's event in 5:15.20. Alexander takes the top spot in the men's event ahead of McNamee and Richard Horton. In the Olympic event, Cyril Viernot, the only Frenchman to qualify for Kona this year, has gone and won here at Hever Castle. Great performance from him. David Bishop, a really solid run to get himself up into second place and overtaking Victor Delilco in the process. So France 1 and 3. And that puts them in a very strong position for the team event.
When we dismount the bike, I wasn't sure I could run fast, you know. But I did it, and my mind was very important today because it was very, very hard.
I didn't really warm up in the swim until about halfway, and then I was just chasing all the way. And Bo is an incredible swimmer, and once he gets to the clean water, he's off the front. And then, yeah, I was just chasing all the way to the end.
Were you aware of how much the deficit was when you came in at the end of the bike?
Yeah, well, I saw Bo leaving, so I thought, it's a good minute and a half, I've got to make up, so I just went out and just attacked it. It's my last race of the season, I just left it all on the course, really.
After a phenomenal swim, Bo Smith led through the halfway stage, but has to settle for 4th in the end.
Pretty much as soon as I went out of T2, I knew they were not far behind, so it was just a matter of time, and I thought, they looked like they were running quicker than me, and I thought if I can just stay with them once they come past, but they just attacked straight past, and they did going up one of the hills on the far side, and it was just too tough to stay with them.
Jameson of Great Britain, not part of the international team, unfortunately, because that would have been a fantastic result. Johnston is, and she has put a little bit of space and a couple of places between herself and Pelletier of France, which could prove crucial. 31 points each. A dead heat on the points, and that means it comes down to time. Every second counts for Delphine Pelletier. And by the look on the French team's faces, they know that they've done enough. The accumulative time puts the French ahead by just about 5 minutes. They win the title that they so badly wanted in Chateau de Chantilly. And well done to Delphine Pelletier. What a way to finish her career.
The last K, I thought, oh, it's my last race, it's quite hard. But I think in the life we have to pass at something else. I have done my time, and now it's for young people, and I prefer help them to be fast.
Well, here are the young fans of the Mailer family. Harvey still fighting. And Cara, who's done the gauntlet today. She's run the gauntlet. She's beaten the gauntlet.
We can see you've got your whole family with you. How much did it mean to you to have them watching you while you're racing?
I couldn't do it without them. And Harvey, my husband, does all I wouldn't have a bike without him. He does all the techie stuff, so thank you to everybody. The whole organisation means we can bring the family, so it can be a family event rather than just being a selfish thing that I do myself.
So many success stories. The British a bit disappointed with the result.
We got beat by the French, but next year we'll be back and we'll take the win that year, yeah.
So the Brits just missing out this year, but many other success stories around Hever Castle. So many first-timers, so many kids, their teachers, their parents producing outstanding performances.
What a way to round off the 2013 Castle Triathlon Series. This stately tour of Britain, Ireland and France has come to a fitting conclusion here at Hever Castle over a brilliant 2 days of sport. From everybody here in Kent, bye-bye for now.